Sous vide might sound fancy. It is a French term after all. It simply means under vacuum. You seal your food like a beautiful steak in a bag. Then, you place this bag in a water bath. This water is heated to a very precise temperature. The food cooks gently and evenly in this controlled environment. Think of it as a warm, relaxing spa day for your steak. This method has moved from high-end restaurant kitchens to home kitchens. It is surprisingly easy to get started with this technique. Many home cooks are discovering its amazing benefits. The biggest advantage of sous vide cooking is incredible temperature control. Your immersion circulator keeps the temperature exact. This means your steak will never overcook. If you want your steak medium rare, you set the water to medium rare temperature. The steak cannot get hotter than the water surrounding it. This removes the guesswork common with other cooking methods. Another fantastic benefit of sous vide is consistency. Every single time you cook a steak using this method, you can achieve the same perfect results. This reliability is a game changer for home cooks. Traditional cooking methods like using a pan or an oven are a bit like trying to hit a tiny target with a huge cannon. The air in your oven or the surface of your pan is much hotter than your desired final steak temperature. For example, your pan might be 400 degrees Fahrenheit or hotter to get a good sear. This means the outer layers of the steak cook very quickly. They often overcook before the center even reaches the perfect temperature. This creates that familiar band of gray, dry meat around the edges of a less than perfectly cooked steak. Sous vide cooking flips this entire concept on its head. With sous vide, the water bath is set to the exact final temperature you want your steak to reach. If you want a medium rare steak at 135 degrees Fahrenheit, the water is precisely 135 degrees. The steak in its bag slowly and gently comes up to that temperature. It literally cannot get any hotter than the water surrounding it. This eliminates the wide temperature gradient. There is no overshooting the mark. It's a far more gentle and controlled way to apply heat to your food, ensuring precision that's hard to achieve otherwise. Moisture retention is another key scientific advantage. The most important piece of equipment for sous vide cooking is the immersion circulator. This device is the heart of the whole operation. It looks a bit like a stick blender. You clip it to the side of your water container. It has a heating element to warm the water and a small propeller or pump to circulate it. This circulation is crucial. It ensures the water temperature is perfectly even throughout the entire bath. Modern immersion circulators are very accurate and easy to use with digital displays for setting the temperature and timer. Next, you will need a water container. A large stock pot you already own can work perfectly well. Many people prefer to use dedicated containers made from clear polycarbonate plastic. These often come with lids designed to fit around the circulator, which helps reduce water evaporation during long cooks. To cook sous vide, your steak needs to be sealed in a bag. A vacuum sealer is the ideal tool for this. If you don't have a vacuum sealer, you can use the water displacement method with good quality Ziploc-style freezer bags. The first step in your sous vide steak adventure is preparing the steak itself. Start by patting your chosen cut of steak thoroughly dry with paper towels. This helps with seasoning adherence and later with achieving a better sear. Once dry, season it generously on all sides. Salt and freshly ground black pepper are classics for a reason, but don't be afraid to experiment. Next, it's time to bag your seasoned steak. If you have a vacuum sealer, place the steak in a vacuum seal bag, ensuring it lies flat. Then use your machine to remove the air and seal the bag tightly. If you're using the water displacement method, place the steak in a heavy-duty, food-safe, resealable bag. Seal the bag almost completely, leaving a small opening at one corner. Slowly lower the bag into your water bath before it's heated or into a separate bowl of water. The pressure of the water will push the air out through the opening. Once the air is out, seal the bag completely. Now, set up your sous vide water bath. Fill your chosen container with enough water to comfortably submerge the bagged steak and meet the minimum fill line on your immersion circulator. Section 5. Choosing your champion. Picking the perfect steak cut. When it comes to sous vide, thicker steaks are generally your best friends. Cuts that are at least 1 inch thick and preferably 1.5 to 2 inches thick work exceptionally well. The reason for this is simple. The sous vide process cooks the steak perfectly from edge to edge. However, you still need to sear it afterwards to develop that delicious crust. A thicker steak gives you more leeway during the searing process. You can achieve a beautiful dark crust without overcooking the perfectly prepared interior. For incredible tenderness and flavor, classic steakhouse cuts like filet mignon, ribeye, and New York strip are fantastic choices for sous vide. Filet mignon, already very tender, becomes even more buttery and succulent. Ribeye, with its generous marbling, cooks beautifully, its fat rendering gently in the water bath, infusing the meat with rich flavor. New York strip, which offers a good balance of tenderness and beefy flavor, also shines with this method. Sous vide isn't just for expensive tender cuts though. It can also work wonders on tougher, more economical cuts of beef. Cuts like chuck steak, flat iron, or even sirloin can be transformed. Section 6. Flavor Boost. Seasoning and getting the temperature just right. Seasoning your steak before sous vide is essential. Kosher salt and freshly ground black pepper are classic choices. Be generous with the salt to enhance the beef's flavors. Add dry seasonings like garlic powder, onion powder, or paprika. In a sealed environment, flavors penetrate the meat. Choosing the right temperature is critical. For rare, aim for 129 to 134 degrees Fahrenheit. For medium rare, set to 135 to 144 degrees Fahrenheit. Section 7. The grand finale. Achieving that perfect sear. While sous vide cooking gives you unparalleled control over the internal temperature and doneness of your steak, it doesn't create that beautiful, flavorful crust we all crave. A steak straight out of the sous vide bag will be perfectly cooked, but it will look rather pale and unappetizing. The sear is where the magic happens. This final, high-heat step triggers the Maillard reaction, a complex series of chemical reactions between amino acids and reducing sugars. This reaction creates hundreds of new flavor compounds and that delightful brown crust, adding immense depth of flavor and textural contrast. Without a good sear, your sous vide steak is only halfway to perfection. The single most important step before searing your sous vide steak is to pat it incredibly dry. After removing the steak from the bag, place it on a wire rack or a plate lined with paper towels. Use more paper towels to blot every surface of the steak until it is as dry as possible. Any surface moisture will hinder the searing process. Instead of browning, the water will simply steam, cooling down your pan and preventing a good crust from forming. The most popular method for searing a sous vide steak is using a very hot cast iron skillet. Place your skillet over high heat for several minutes until it is screaming hot. Add a small amount of high smoke point fat like grapeseed oil, canola oil, clarified butter, or even beef tallow. Section 8. Troubleshooting common sous vide steak hiccups. One common issue, especially for beginners, is the dreaded floating bag. If your vacuum-sealed or Ziploc bag has air trapped inside, it will be buoyant and float to the surface of the water bath. This is problematic because any part of the steak not fully submerged won't cook evenly or safely. To fix this, you can try to rebag the steak, ensuring all air is expelled. Alternatively, you can weigh the bag down. Use sous vide weights designed for this purpose, or clip a heavy spoon or a couple of butter knives to the outside of the bag. Sometimes people complain that their sous vide steak tastes a bit like boiled meat. This almost always comes down to issues with the post-sous vide steps, specifically drying and searing. If the steak isn't thoroughly dried after coming out of the water bath, the excess moisture will create steam in the hot pan. This steam inhibits browning and can impart that undesirable boiled flavor and texture. Similarly, if your searing pan isn't hot enough or if you don't sear for long enough to develop a proper crust, the steak can lack that rich, roasted flavor profile we associate with a great steak. Achieving an even, beautiful sear can also be a challenge. If your pan isn't sufficiently preheated or if the heat is uneven, you might end up with a patchy crust. Some parts nicely browned, others still pale. Ensure your pan is scorching hot across its entire surface before adding the steak. Section 9. Why sous vide steak wins. A flavorful conclusion. Cooking steak using the sous vide method offers benefits hard to achieve with traditional techniques. Precision temperature control ensures perfect doneness every time. This consistency removes guesswork, giving you confidence in the kitchen. The gentle process enhances tenderness by breaking down collagen. The result is a juicy, flavorful steak cooked to your preference. Sous vide is a forgiving method. The steak won't overcook if the water temperature is set correctly. It's perfect for home cooks aiming for restaurant-quality results. Experiment with different cuts and seasonings. Adjust the temperature to find your perfect level of doneness.